What's up, Guardians? Profane here. Thanks for checking out the video. The Lake of Shadows has returned as the weekly Nightfall, and today we'll be breaking down the Grandmaster version of this Nightfall and going over all the currently functioning cheeses and exploits, as well as all the best strategies and loadouts to get this Grandmaster done quick, fast, and in a hurry. This week you'll be able to get the Undercurrent Special Grenade Launcher, with Adept versions only coming out of Grandmaster. The Lake of Shadows pins you up against the Cabal and Taken forces. There will be Barrier Champions and Unstoppable. There's also a few Cabal Threshers, a Tormentor, and a Chimera mini-boss included within this Nightfall, and all of those enemies will have an increase to arc damage. With the effectiveness of the seasonal artifact mods, in combination with the Scorch and Ignitions that you can create, solar builds will be a great choice on any class with this Grandmaster. The only exception to that would be a Void Hunter using invisibility, as that invisibility can help you skip through a good chunk of the opening phases, and it can really get your team out of a tough spot. There's also a few select strand builds like the Broodweaver with Swarmers that would also come in handy with this Grandmaster. The Wishender, the Wishkeeper, the Revision Zero, Malfeasance, Sunshot, and Polaris Lance are all going to be the most effective exotic weapons to use in this Nightfall. When this Nightfall begins, you'll have to escort a weapons cache across the Trosslands. An invisible hunter using Omnioculus could easily transport you and the weapons cache across the entire map without having to get your hands dirty. Just keep in mind though, if you do skip any of the enemies, you're going to get a much lower score at the end. So if you are going for a top 10% Nightfall score, you'll need to defeat all of these enemies in the first two areas. When you get to the Chimera, it'll be in your best interest to play from a distance and just hang back in the alleyway where you were just escorting the payload. This way you don't get overburdened by the boss attacks while also thwarting off rank and file enemies and those big blight balls that the boss launches out. Watch your step no matter where you're at, as some of the floor will become taken and it will emit concussive arc damage. Another reason why you should definitely run arc resistance on your chest, along with Void. When the boss shields itself, you'll need to break its tether points, and the safest way of doing this is by jumping to the other side of the broken truck and standing on the terrace marquee. You should be able to spot all of the tether points from this position, and once they've been shot down, just move back over to the right. After the Chimera is down, you'll transition into the spillways, where you'll fight a few different groups of Cabal before going back outside. Here on this long walkway, you'll have a ton of Cabal and Threshers. The Threshers will mess you up, so make sure you're staying behind cover until they're both down. Once the Threshers are down, the rest of the enemies are pretty easy here. And once everything is down, you'll have a chance to skip straight to the final boss encounter by jumping up onto the posts alongside the wall and then up across to where the broken wall is. You can skip the next couple of rooms, including the Tormentor, and just go straight into the boss fight. This shouldn't remove your platinum status either, but it will significantly reduce the overall points that you would have earned. Only one Guardian needs to go up. The other two can stand by and just wait to be teleported. This will use up 2 of your revives, so keep that in mind. Now if you decide to not skip to the final boss, you will need to take on the Tormentor, and I've found that the best way to beat this Tormentor is to play a little cat and mouse. There's a big machine on the right and some steps on the left. You can use these to lure the Tormentor to one side and then just keep circling back around like a game of cat and mouse, using the machine or steps as makeshift barriers, keeping them in between you and the Tormentor. This Tormentor is susceptible to blinding and disorienting effects, and since it's not a supersized Tormentor, it can also be slowed, frozen, and suspended, and it can be severed to reduce its damage by 40%. And now let's talk about this final boss room. There's 2 ways of handling this room. One is the normal way, by standing down at the bottom, unload on the boss as soon as he spawns in, and then circle around the stage, shooting down all the resonance beacons whenever they form. There's a lot of broken tiles and concrete slabs that you can use as cover, but if you stay down here, you'll most certainly need the aid of multiple wells of radiance. Alternatively, you could send one player or the entire team up to the roof before this encounter begins, so that you can avoid the majority of the enemies and damage that you would normally take. Now, you'll still take damage from while up here, so you're not impervious, but if you can continuously spam your wells, your rifts, and any other healing effects, you should be fine. To get to the roof, you'll need to jump onto the tube that protrudes from the right side wall. Jump up to the broken ceiling that's directly above, and then jump across to the exposed girder that's hanging from the broken side of the ceiling. You'll need to make an outward jump to the edge of the map so that you don't bump your head on the invisible ceiling. And once you've cleared that, you should be able to center yourself alongside the edge of the rooftop. Some players do find it difficult to get up to and land on the exposed girder, so hunters will need to be using triple jump. Titans will need to use high jump, and warlocks will need to use balanced glide. It will take a lot longer while you're up at this rooftop, but this will give you a far more effective way at getting this boss encounter completed without losing lives. And with that said, I wish you all the best of luck throughout your farm of this week's Lake of Shadow Grandmaster. Thank you as always for checking out the video. If you enjoyed and found it helpful, then be sure to hit that like button below, along with the subscribe button if you're new. Both are greatly appreciated, and both really do help support the channel. If you're a new Light Guardian, just starting your journey, or a battle-hardened veteran, just looking for a new home, then be sure to check out the Discord link in the description below, and join one of the greatest communities in all of Destiny. And until next time, Guardians, this has been Profane, wishing you all some happy hunting.